With the best, the professional. She came back out of retirement and she's going back into professional solitaire playing. My grandma, the great. What was the nickname they had for you back when you competed in solitaire back in 1982?
I don't remember.
The Great Shuffler. That's what they used to call you. The Great Shuffler has returned, everybody. She's actually competing this year in the solitaire tournament. So you guys be prepared. If you live in the Chicago area, make sure to keep an eye on the solitaire competitions that are going on. My grandma's going to be performing at one of them. Just ask them, hey, is the shuffler going to be here? And they'll tell you if she's going to be there or not. But yeah, she's back in it. She's back in her prime. I've been listening to her play solitaire for like the last hour, and she's been winning a lot. Like, she's back on her A game. You guys don't know the story probably, but my grandma used to compete in solitaire professionally. And back in the day, this was before she got the name the Shuffler. But I'll get into how she got the name the Shuffler. But so back in 1972, there wasn't much to do, And one day, my grandma just decided, hey, I'm already a bodybuilder. I already beat the female division. Let me take a little break from bodybuilding and play my hands at some cards. So she looked at some card games, and solitaire was the very first one that was recommended. And yeah, my grandma picked it up like within a week. Within a week, she was competing. The very next week, she was competing already. My grandma was very involved. I don't know if you guys know Donald Wright. He was actually a professional solitaire player, champion of 1976. My grandma met him before he won that 1976 solitaire competition that was held at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Yep, my grandma saw him before he was in his prime. And my grandma actually had the honor to actually beat him in 1970. What was it? 1975, the year before he won that competition. It was something like that. But yeah, she beat him at the what was it? It was at the what's it called? The Lincoln Park solitaire competition that was going on. It was for minor leagues, It's not the professionals. So you got the beginners, and then you got the intermediate, and then you got the experts, and then you got the professionals. So this is more intermediate level. But the thing is like they had to disqualify my grandma because they said you're too good to be competing here. So my grandma went from intermediate to professional just like that. Because the expert competitions, they heard about her skills at the intermediate, and they said, hey, you can't come here. You need to go to the professionals. So my grandma was a professional solitaire player, like before, she could even play the intermediate or the beginners or anything. Like see, that's the thing. Like when my grandma finds a hobby, she doesn't go beginner. She doesn't go, intermediate. She don't go expert. Like she always goes straight professional. And it's all, I don't know where did you get this type of ability? Like where did you get that from? Like, cause everyone starts off somewhere and they fail, a lot before they can get really good. But you pick stuff up like that. Like just give you an hour and next thing you know, you're a professional. Like I remember the time my grandma dabbled with basketball. They had a basketball outside in the driveway, and I'll never forget. I was a little 4-year-old kid I got off. Grandma went to come pick us up at the YMCA, and well, one day when Grandma was supposed to pick us up, it was Grandpa that picked us up, and we were like, "Where's Grandma?" And he said, "Well, your grandma is practicing for a tournament." And we were like, "What's that tournament?" And he started to explain to us, and we still didn't get it. So by the time we pulled up in the driveway, we see Grandma in like gym shorts and a tank top, and she's dribbling the basketball like with some crazy, incredible moves. Like I've never seen anything like this. And my grandpa said she was only playing for a week, and she's already competing. And then she won the tournament, and then she said, "This is boring." Like it was just too easy for her. Like I don't get it. Like my grandma even had the honor to meet Michael Jordan and battle him in a one-on-one when he was still playing for the Bulls. Let's just say Michael Jordan don't like to talk about that. He don't like to talk about the time where he got beat by my grandma. And it wasn't because she was a girl. It was because of how long she's played. He didn't believe it. Like they said, "Hey, she's only been playing for a month." And Michael Jordan was like, "Okay, I'll beat that with ease." And then my grandma just comes out with like this skill of like no tomorrow. Like, I mean, Michael Jordan said in an interview one time, it was actually a disclosed interview with the newspaper. It was like right after, the game, because, people were wanting to know his reaction to everything. So of course there's documentation, but you got to look in the, I don't even remember what that newspaper's name is, but it was in the Chicago newspaper or something like that. But he was saying basically like he can't believe he's never seen someone dribble that fast and have these many moves. Like some of the moves my grandma was doing, he's never even heard of. Like my grandma was pulling out some Japanese basketball moves from like the year of 2480, but yet it was only like 1989 or something like that, or 1990. And so he said he don't even know where she came up with half of these skills and how she jumped so high sometimes. Like, I don't know. Crazy stuff. But my grandma, she's been competing in solitaire for a long time. She would do it on a side job, with, competing in bodybuilding, which bodybuilding my grandma already beat. Like to this day, like if you try to visit my grandma and you shake her hand, you'll still feel that grip of death when she, shakes your hand. I remember it was the first time when I went up to Illinois in a long time, and it was for the funeral. My grandma, I knocked on the door, and grandma answers the door, and next thing you know, I hear, "James! James!" And next thing you know, I'm getting this big hug, and I mean, it hurt. I mean, my back was aching, and I'm like, "Ow! Ow! Ow! Stop!" And never underestimate my grandma. She's very, very strong. Like even like when you go out to eat with her and stuff, like I remember one time we went out to eat, and like I was telling these bikers that were in the town, I was like, "Yeah, that's Hocwwid Gambino right there." And they were like, "Oh no, it's not." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is. That's Hocwwid Gambino." And if you're not familiar with my podcast, when I talk about Hocwwid Gambino was my grandma's persona in the bodybuilding industry. I'm not going to go into full story mode on that because I kind of already spoke about it in the previous podcast. That's just another time before I bring up Hocwwid Gambino. But yeah, I was in Illinois. I was bragging. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm hanging out with the Hocwwid Gambino." And the biker guy, he was like, "That's not Hocwwid Gambino." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is, dude." And he was like, "That's not Hocwwid Gambino." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it is." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, prove it." And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Grandma." And Grandma comes over there, and she's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Grandma, it's this biker guy don't believe you're Hocwwid Gambino." And when you say that, my grandma gets all shy, and she's just like, That's not me. Nah, a lot of people say that I look like Hocwwid Gambino, but I ain't Hocwwid Gambino. Because my grandma doesn't want to be too prideful with, that persona. And one of the biker guys just said, "Hey, if that's not Hocwwid Gambino, let me see you flex your arm. Flex your arm." And like I looked at Grandma, and the biker who was talking to Grandma looked at him, and he said, "Well, we're waiting for you to flex your arm." And my grandma hit him with a flex, and I mean pythons. You've never seen an arm that develops, especially with the age that she's at right now, and for it to be so developed. Only the Hocwwid Gambino has some form of development with the arm, to this day. But that's just another story. That's another story. But yeah, she's back in the solitaire game. She's back to practicing for the tournament. Grandma, so how do you feel about the competition this year for the solitaire? Are you kind of nervous about it or anything?
No, I'm feeling good.
Good. See, my grandma's got confidence. Because they said 2019, the guy's name was Fast Skippy. They call him Fast Skippy because you didn't know when he was going to win, so they call him Fast Skippy. Because he would always be traveling in the solitaire competitions with a thing of Skippy peanut butter. But the thing is the man's fingers and hands were so fast, you wouldn't know what the heck he's doing. Like, the guy was just so fast. He won last year, right? Yeah, my grandma's aware. She don't like to speak of Fast Skippy, so we'll just drop the subject matter on Fast Skippy. Because my grandma's going to obliterate him in this year's competition. But the thing is Fast Skippy don't know when she's coming. But when she shows up, Fast Skippy knows he's in a run for his money because my grandma's coming back for her title. Because the thing is Fast Skippy was a constant person at the tournaments, with my grandma. And he would always lose to my grandma. But the thing is my grandma retired last year from solitaire. She said she needed to take a break and, focus on herself. Because my grandma's, she's trying to achieve some goals in life. And so she took a year off, and Fast Skippy won. And I remember I actually read the interview with him after the solitaire competition. He was like, "Yeah, I'm so glad the shuffler wasn't in. Because, man, if the shuffler was back, I would have never won. I'd like to thank my mom. And hi, Dad. Told you I'd do it. I practiced real hard. I love Skippy peanut butter." Yeah, Fast Skippy coming. My grandma's coming for your money, Fast Skippy. My grandma does not play when it comes to solitaire. Do you still have that jersey? Mimi.
What?
Do you still have that jersey?
What jersey?
The 777 jersey.
No.
What'd you do with it?
I don't know.
Team Jesus?
I have one.
What? That's cool because I made you it. The Team Jesus jersey?
Oh, yeah, I got that.
When's the last time you wore it?
Oh, I don't remember.
It's been that long, huh? Yeah, my grandma's pretty cool. Yep. So Mimi, how about you educate these people on Rob Globble? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know who he is, and they're probably buying stuff, those little announcement things from him, and they probably don't even know who the guy is. So can you educate the people about who Rod Gobbleglitch is?
Rob Glitch used to be the governor of Illinois.
Okay. And so what would you say, like, if a bunch of people said, well, that's so cool, and he's only charging $100. I'm gonna get one from him just to say I got one from a governor. What are you gonna say to them?
Well, that's what they want to do.
Okay, Mimi. So I'm gonna go get me one then, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Let me look them up on here. I'm gonna get that apology message from him. Pull that up here. Rod Blagojevich. Okay. Hey, my name is James, and my grandma voted for you in when you ran for governor. She was very disappointed to hear the news about you attempting to sell seats at some kind of political intervention, and it would mean the world if you could make a sincere apology to my grandma for your actions. Her name is, I'm not going to say it on the podcast,
Okay.
and it would mean the world to her. Thank you so much. Sincerely, James. Alrighty. Alright, I got it booked. So it says you can expect a response usually within 5 hours.
Oh,
So you'll be getting your apology, Grandma. Are you happy that you're going to get an apology?
oh yeah.
Now, yesterday you were giving me a bunch of heck about it.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, today you're very relaxed about it, which is kind of shocking.
Oh, I'm playing solitaire.
Oh, so you don't even care what I do. See, guys, when my grandma's in the zone, she's really in the zone. She's not paying attention to half the things I'm doing right now. So, Grandma, what do you got planned when you go get your car?
I gotta take Donna someplace Tuesday.
What does that mean? What's someplace?
To fix pick up her check and go to the bank and Walmart.
Okay. Are you looking forward to that?
No, not really, but I'm going to do it.
Oh, well, why are you doing it then if you don't look forward to it?
Yeah, I don't.
Is everything all right, Mimi?
Yeah, everything's okay.
You sure? Grandma, you know you can always stand your ground if you don't want to do something.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes you got to do that. Especially someone with how much popularity you have. And I know it's hard sometimes, but sometimes you just got to do that, Grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't remember telling me off when I told you I was going to get me an apology from Rob Blagojevich?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know I just purchased one, right?
Why did you do that?
Because I think you deserve an apology. I ran it through you before I did it.
Yeah.
And you literally said, okay, go ahead. Do you remember that?
No, I really don't.
Grandma, you just said it.
I did?
Did you take your breathing treatment?
No.
Yeah, because you're not remembering stuff, Grandma. You need to go do your breathing treatment. When's the last time you did your breathing treatment?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Grandma, you need to do... Grandma, you need to do your breathing treatment. That's why you're not remembering stuff. Why do you do this to me?
Why do I do what to you?
Not take your breathing treatment.
I will.
When? When?
Well, whenever.
Whenever what? Is something bothering you, Mimi?
No, I'm concentrating on solitaire.
Well, while my grandmother's in the zone, everybody, let me tell you. So once a month, there is going to be a podcast. And who knows what's going to go on in these podcasts. It could mean some of the various things. But, to be honest, the last few podcasts have been really, really good. Especially compared to the last ones. But, tried getting a reaction out of my grandma about the Rob Blagojevich thing, but she wasn't reacting to it today. Grandma, did you at least watch Good Morning America?
Yeah, I did.
Can you please inform the people what's going on in America?
Well, the coronavirus is spreading.
Uh-oh. How bad is it, Grandma?
Well, there's 63 cases in the U.S.
Oh, man. What did the CDC say?
say wash your hands and try not to be around contaminated people.
Now, how do you know who's contaminated and who's not?
I don't know.
Like, do you ask them?
I don't know.
Like, so let's say you're walking in the grocery store and there's this guy in the grocery store and he just says, I do not have the coronavirus. I repeat, I do not have the coronavirus. Would you believe him?
I don't know.
What if he comes up to you and he offers to shake your hand?
Well, I don't think I'd want to shake his hand.
But then he makes eye contact with you and he says, ma'am, I said I don't have the coronavirus.
Well, I don't know that.
And he said, ma'am, look me in my eyes and you'll see I don't blink or nothing. Now, I am telling you, I do not have the coronavirus. And what do you say to him?
Well, I don't know that.
Okay. Another scenario. You're in the grocery store, you're in line. The woman closes her register because she's about to go on break. And one guy, he opens up his register and he says, number 3 is open. And then as you guys start making the line, he says, now I want to let you guys know I may be wearing a face mask, but I want to let you know I do not have the coronavirus. Are you going to stay in the line?
I don't know.
Well, let's say he's the only line that's open.
I really don't know.
But he's the only one that's open, Grandma. So let's say he checks out all these people after he made that big announcement, and you're the only one left, and he says, ma'am, I can check you out. Are you coming? What are you going to say to him?
I don't know.
And he says, ma'am, hello, my register's open. Do you want me to check you out? Then what do you say? So what do you say to him?
Yeah, I guess check me out.
Okay, so he checks you out, and and he says, I thank you so much, ma'am. And he says, remember, I don't have the coronavirus. You have a good day, okay?
Okay.
And then you leave, and then like a couple hours later, you start to feel ill. Like you really start to feel ill.
Oh. Well, I'm already gone. I don't know that.
Oh, I know. You left the grocery store, but an hour later you started feeling really ill.
Well, that's his business, I guess.
No, he gave it to you. He gave you the coronavirus.
Oh.
My grandma's too engulfed in solitaire, guys. She usually don't act like this. She got a big tournament coming up. A lot of money is on the table. We're talking about $10,000. Possibly more. My grandma's just bringing $10,000. My grandma likes to hang out with the country club. She's actually a part of the country club of Chicago. And that's where the tournament's gonna be held. But yeah, since my grandma practicing for solitaire, I'm sorry she wasn't active in the podcast. She's just really in the zone when it comes to competing with solitaire. Grandma, do you got anything you want to advertise before we go?
No, not really.
I don't want to advertise. You know what? I want to advertise. Wait a minute. Grandma,
Yeah.
you remember Ralph and Housen?
No, I don't.
Hogan Hinklebottom? Bob Mullet and the Round Gullet?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I want to advertise my Mimi being the coolest person in the world. She really is an inspiration, guys. As you can see, her determination when it comes to solitaire, it's remarkable. And she's coming back strong in this coming tournament. So keep an eye on the Chicago solitaire competitions. I'm not sure which one my grandma's going to. I think she wants to keep it a secret, to ward off her enemies and stuff when she goes to compete. But I will tell you this, it's one of the higher dollar stakes of the solitaire competition. So always keep an eye out. But anyway, me and my grandma are going to go off the air. Hey, we are off. Yeah.